Hey, y'all, and welcome back to another episode discussing sacred geometry. In the last episode, we talked about two-dimensional circles and the formations that come from them. Circles represent feminine energy, which you can see in their curved shape. Today, we're going to talk about two-dimensional squares and the shape formations that come from them. Squares are going to be more masculine, which we can see in the shape itself where there's a bunch of straight lines. So a square is a polygon. Remember, polygons have straight sides, okay? Four-sided shapes are often called quadrilateral, quadrangle, or tetragon. What makes a square so special is that they contain four internal right angles that are of equal length, okay? A right angle is just 90 degrees. A square can be cut diagonally to create two right angled triangles, or it can be cut from both diagonals to create four isosceles triangles. An isosceles triangle is just two sides of the same length of that triangle, but not the third side. Since squares have four corners, they're usually used to describe things in nature that come in four. So seasons, cardinal points, elements, things like that. And they are also used in symbology about the earth and the material plane because they represent stability. So when you call someone a square, you're basically calling them rigid, predictable, somebody who plays it safe, and somebody who is unbending. Okay. Now, there are a couple formations that come from squares, and we're going to go through them. So first we have the Sierpinski square, which is like the Sierpinski triangle. I'll put up a picture so you guys can see it, but this is a fractal pattern with a big square divided into four smaller squares, and a central square is removed, leaving 8 squares. Then this is repeated on and on and on until you get to about 64 squares. This pattern can go on infinitely. Next, we have a pentagon. A pentagon is a 5-sided shape that has 5 equal sides. This can be divided into 5 equilateral triangles. This symbol is often associated with balance between the masculine and the feminine, since it has 3 masculine and 2 feminine, which make up 5 sides. Okay. 5 often represents change, manifestation, creation, and new beginnings. It can also mean the halfway point between two things because, 5 is the center point between 10. In fact, most esoterics, philosophers, and scientists believe that there are 5 elements. So you have air and fire, which are the masculine ones. You have earth and water, which are the feminine ones. But then you also have spirit or aether, which is like the connective tissue between the two. Okay. The Chinese system also has 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Okay. From a pentagon, you get a pentagram or a pentacle. The pentagram is made up of several triangles surrounding a pentagon inside a circle. Pentagrams are used to represent the hand or your fingers, and the stars in the sky at night. You can form this shape by standing with your legs apart and your arms straight out. It is also used in pagan traditions and tarot cards to represent wealth and security. Next, you have the cinquefoil, which is like the trefoil, and the quatrefoil. This just means 5 leaves and comes from the Latin root of cinque folis. This looks like the quatrefoil with 1 extra circle, so it kind of just looks like a 5-petal flower. This is often found in church windows and used to be called the Rose of Venus by Romans and symbolized womanhood. Next, we have the hexagon, which is a polygon with 6 equal sides. 6 is mathematically considered to be a perfect number because the numbers that make it up always equal 6. For example, if you split it in half, 3 plus 3 is 6. If you split it into 1, 2, 3, it is also 6. Okay, when you add those numbers up, 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6. 6 is often associated with time because of hours and minutes are multiples of 6. Cycles, because Earth's natural cycles are 6 months apiece. So you have 6 months in the reproductive cycle, which are going to be summer and spring, and 6 months in the destructive cycle, which are going to be winter and fall. It is considered to be the number of marriage, of balance, of unity and harmony. This shape is used in architecture and floor tiling. Like literally, y'all, my bathroom has hexagonal tiles. So this is a real thing. And I realized the other day that my bed frame has these quatrefoils all over it. Okay. So yeah, they're used in bathrooms. They're used in architecture, floor tiling. They're used in furniture as well. In addition, the flower of life is a hexagonal pattern that goes on infinitely. From the hexagon, you get the hexagram. This is where we get the Seal of Solomon and the Star of David. This is created by having two triangles facing opposite directions and coming from the center of the hexagon. The upwards facing triangle is masculine energy and the one pointing downwards is feminine. This symbol represents the balance between masculine and feminine energy. It is a part of the heart chakra symbol because the heart chakra is the center of the body, in between masculine electric or spiritual chakras and the feminine magnetic and material chakras. One pointing to the heaven and the other pointing to the earth, one pointing to spirit and the other to matter. One ruled by the physical senses and the others ruled by the clear or spiritual senses that come with this just pure knowing. So it's associated with as above, so below. From the hexagram comes the conch snowflake, which starts with an equilateral triangle, and each tip is divided into 3 triangles with a central triangle. This is a pattern that goes infinitely until a snowflake forms. And then we have the 6-pointed star, and this can be found with 6 rhombi, which contain 12 equilateral triangles. Next, we have the heptagon, and it's a Greek word that breaks down hept equals 7 and gon equals angles, so it's literally 7 angles. Heptagon is a polygon with 7 equal sides. Remember, we said 7 brings harmony and balance to the universe, so it's very sacred and religious number. It's a combination of the number 3, which represents spirit, the soul, and heaven, and the number 4, which represents the body or earth. Okay, so again, when you bring the body together with the spirit, you find balance. Okay, so we mentioned this in the 2nd season of my podcast when we reviewed the 7 stanzas and how everything was created, combining these energies. Now, there are 7 colors in the rainbow, 7 notes in a scale, 7 main chakras, 7 days in a week, and the list goes on and on. 7 can represent a need for a pause, consideration, taking notice, and taking time to figure out a problem. It is associated with the Chariot card, which has 2 sphinxes on it, which represents riddles and perception. This card is telling you that all obstacles are being moved out of your way. So heptagons symbolize knowledge and gained wisdom. From a heptagon, you get a heptagram, and there are 2 heptagrams, which are basically like 2 stars that form from a heptagon. There's an obtuse one and there's an acute one. Now, the obtuse one is created by putting a triangle on each point of the heptagon, and the acute one is made by stretching out the corners of the heptagon until they touch the other lines. Symbolically, heptagrams represent many diverse ideas and topics, or just any 7 ideas or any 7 things. Next, we have an octagon. Now, this is an 8-sided polygon with all equal sides. This is another symbol, like the circle, for eternity because of the shape of the number 8, resembling the infinity sign. Okay, 8s are associated with abundance and prosperity, and even the feng shui of a place. Now, if y'all don't know what a feng shui is, it was like this big freaking thing back in the day. But basically, it was this idea that the placement of your furniture in a room can affect the energy and the flow of that room. Okay. From the octagon, you get 2 formations. You get an octagram, and this is an 8-pointed star that can be seen on the face of a compass. It shows you the 4 cardinal points, which are north, south, east, and west, and the intercardinal points, which are northeast, southwest, southeast, northwest. I'll put up a picture, but you can always tell it's an octagram because it has an octagon in the center, and it symbolizes infinity in religion. And then you also get the hypercube, and this is a large octagon that has an octagram at the center and a larger one around it, and it symbolizes 4 dimensions: width, height, length, and time. Next, we have the enogon, also known as the nonagon. Enad just means 9, and gon means angles, so literally translates into 9 angles. 9s can be viewed as bad or good depending on the person and their culture. Pythagoras associated 9s with failure because it's not perfectly even number like 10, or it's not perfect or complete like 10. However, numerology is based on the numbers 1 through 9, which set the foundation for literally everything. So 9 is viewed by some as the number of completion, and 10 as a sign of new beginnings, which can be seen in how long we're pregnant, right? 9 months completion. The Enneagram is associated with self-reflection and learning your lessons before moving on. Okay, the Nonogram is a 9-pointed star made of 3 intertwined equilateral triangles. In Greek mythology, this symbol was called the Star of Muses because there were 9 muses in their stories. This is similar to the Borromean rings, but it is called the Buryan link, or one of the Buryan links, which can be made from any 3 shapes that are interlinked. There is a nonogram in the middle of this star. The pagans call this star the ninefold goddess, and each point represents a different aspect of this goddess. And then, so next we have an enneagram. Now, I know before we said an enneagon and a nonagon are the same thing and they can be used interchangeably. That is true. But a nonogram and an enneagram are different. Now, many people may be aware of what an enneagram is because it's often used in determining personalities. Okay. It's a part of this personality system. Okay, and there's books about this. I even seen it on TikTok. I've been studying enneagrams for a while. Okay, so basically it's a 9-pointed star with an open bottom surrounded by a circle. And there are 9 different types of personalities. Okay, the reformer, the helper, the achiever, the individualist, the investigator, the loyalist, the enthusiast, the challenger, and the peacemaker. So I'll put up a picture of it so you can see it, but a lot of people have seen this, especially if you have done this personality test. Next is a decagon, and this is a 10-sided polygon with equal sides and equal internal angles that add up to 144 degrees apiece. 10 is often called the number of perfection because when you add both numbers together, you get 1, which is the number associated with the creator. 10s are often used to indicate completion of cycles. They represent determination and hard work paying off. This can also indicate a deeper understanding or achieving of something. From a decagon, you get a decagram, and this is a 10-pointed star with a decagon in the center. And then the last one is a dodecagon. Now, this is a 12-sided polygon with 12 equal sides. Each of the internal angles are 150 degrees. This shape is usually associated with Aether or the universe. 12 is often looked at as the cosmic order number and another number of perfection. Mathematically, 12 times 12 equals 144, which is the number that will get into heaven, which is the internal angle of the dodecahedron. And the 12th number in the Fibonacci series is 144. Okay. Time is measured in 12s. We have the year measured in 12s, zodiacs, 12 full moons a year, and so on and so forth. So 12 represents completion, endings, and cycles. From the dodecagon, we get the dodecagram, which is a 12-pointed star with a dodecagon in the center. It can be drawn by laying 4 equilateral triangles over each other. This is often used in drawing of the zodiac. So that is the end of the 2-dimensional shape formations. Let me give you a little recap just to tell you what they mean, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we have a circle, which we talked about last time. Circles represent eternity, the creator, and one. Vesica Pisces represent duality and union. Tripod of life, the triquetra, the trifold, the triskelion, the triangle, and then the Relu triangle, all of those represent Trinity and balance. Okay, always think Holy Trinity. When you think of 3, think of Holy Trinity. Okay, so Trinity and balance. The square and the quatrefold, think seasons, cardinal points, directions. Pentagon, pentagram, syncfold, elements, nature, and combination. Hexagon and hexagram are going to be balance, time, and harmony. Heptagon, heptagram, the seed of life. These are all turning points, okay? Change. The number 7 have to do with balance, okay? Change, a turning point. Octagon, octagram are going to have to do with infinity, prosperity, and growth. When you think of oct, think of 8, and then 8 looks like an infinity symbol, okay? Nonogram, nonagon, enneagram, cycles, ending, and wisdom. Decagon, and then we have the tetrachus, which is the triangle with the 10 dots that create multiple little triangles. The decagram, these are going to be perfect number and completion. Dodecagon and dodecagram are going to represent the aether, the universe, the creator, and cosmic order. The fruit of life represents origin and a starting point. The flower of life represents progress, enlightenment, and awakening. So I hope that was helpful. That concludes our episode on the two-dimensional square. In our next episode, we're going to be talking about the three-dimensional shapes in the platonic solids. I hope you enjoyed this content. As always, please like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. I love y'all deep, and until next time.